None of us want to face it, but Fast and Furious has gotta end sometime.
You're thinking what I'm thinking, right?
Luckily for us, it's likely the Fast finale will be the most intense chapter yet. Recently, it was announced that the final two Fast films would be Fast 10 and 11. While that is a big blow, it does provide an interesting clue for how the franchise could come to an end. The Fast and Furious films have never been shy about taking inspiration from other franchises. What started as a simple street racing series has evolved through high-octane heist films, save-the-world spy thrillers, and has even flirted with superhero-esque characters. So the Fast franchise's announcement of two finale movies could point to them taking inspiration from that other mega franchise, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Avengers closed out their Infinity Saga with an epic two-parter that left the world in tatters for a whole year. It seems likely that Fast 10 could be the Infinity War of the franchise, setting up Fast 11 to be the Endgame-style finale. So if they're gonna Endgame, then obviously they need a Thanos, right? So far, the biggest villain in the series has been Cypher. This techno-terrorist was the one who pushed our heroes into full world-saving glory. If anyone is gonna be the final bad guy of the series, it probably should be her. She's not the only bad guy the series has to bring in, though. Hobbes and Shaw introduced a fascinating evil organization of superhuman maniacs known as Etion. It's entirely possible that Cypher could get captured at the end of F9, only to get recruited into the organization. Now let's face it, she's the exact sort of person who they would be looking for. No one has a bad guy resume like she does. Now, as far as the leader of Etion goes, you just know that they're gonna pull a high-profile action star that can go toe-to-toe with Vin Diesel. And my guess is that they'll get Rambo himself, Sylvester Stallone, to come in as the final boss for Dom to have to take down before the final credits roll. Reload. Knowing this franchise, though, it probably won't be a simple bit of stunt casting. Seeing as this entire series is about family, Stallone may very well end up being Dom's father, who he thought was lost way back before the first movie. Now this would even explain how Jacob Toretto is working with Cypher in F9. Maybe the reveal of Dom's evil father could be the post-credits tease for the finale. It could even feature a scene where he tries to get Dom to join, but the younger Toretto refuses. Dom already has a family. Etion has deep pockets and should know by now how big a threat the likes of Dom and the gang are. So, the natural plot here is that they'll throw our heroes into a situation where they have to go up against each other. Maybe the potential Stallone character will take out Mr. Nobody, Dom's primary ally in the government. I think after that, a big crossover with Hobbes and Shaw is in order, where the duo has to chase after the gang one more time. Honestly, after all that off-screen drama, who wouldn't want to see Vin Diesel and The Rock fight it out one more time? I mean, they might not get Tyrese Gibson to show up for any of those scenes, but Diesel and Johnson seem to be all good now. I think the 10th movie, possibly called War of the Furious, could feature both teams of heroes facing off against each other while Cypher tries to steal some sort of world-ending weapon. By the time Dom and Hobbes figure out they're being played, it'll be too late. This film would end with Etion winning everything and Dom in prison with no one busting him out this time. Now, the last film in the series, possibly called something like The Final Furious, will start with a flashback to Dom's first time stealing a car. This will then cycle through the events of the first film where he met Brian and the rest of the gang. Then it'll cut to his miserable life in a maximum security prison. That will, of course, lead to the most epic prison break yet, as the gang conspires to get Dom out of the toughest prison in the world. After a huge action sequence that no doubt has a giant truck rolling into the prison to pick up Dom, the gang will head out to take down Cypher and Etion once and for all. That's not to say it's going to be easy this time around, though. As the franchise has hinted in the past, it's likely that Etion's final base could very well be out of this world. That's right, Fast and Furious is almost certainly heading to space. After a few random comments dropped from more than one cast member, it seems basically confirmed that the franchise will finally reach its highest heights. By that, I mean over 100 miles straight up. In a scene that might as well be right out of Armageddon, the team will have to train to get ready for their big space mission. I mean, the scene where Roman and Tej compete to see who passes out first practically writes itself. Seeing as how this franchise is one that's all about giant car stunts and brutal fistfights, it's doubtful that the space sequence will be the whole finale. Instead, this may very well be the middle act mission to take out Etion's doomsday weapon and give some fan service to everyone who's been waiting for this franchise to go into space for so long. long. After that, though, it'll be time for the final showdown. As long as anyone like Cypher or the Edeon organization are still around, there will be no safety for the gang. Dom will round up all of the old players ranging from everyone across the entire franchise for the biggest showdown yet. As the bad guys try to make their escape, they will be met with a caravan of jacked up cars from nearly every character in the franchise. This will be Fast's biggest spectacle, as they will have to up the ante on every crazy stunt that they've ever pulled off. Letty will end up jumping onto a truck where she'll have a big showdown with Cypher. The two will fight it out for a few minutes before Letty Spartan kicks Cypher right into the truck's tires. I would speculate on what kind of one-liner she'd say after doing this, but YouTube won't allow me to use those kinds of four-letter words. As good as things look, Stallone's Edeon leader will look like he's getting away. Then, almost as if out of nowhere, another car will show up and run the last truck off the road. The car speeds past our gang and Dom smiles, recognizing that Brian finally made it. This will lead to the final fight, where Dom takes on his father. After the two wail on each other for a while, Stallone will reveal that he is a super soldier like Brixton was. He will then take on Hobbes, Shaw, Dom, and whoever else is left standing until Dom gets an idea. Dom will tell everyone else to run as he grabs Stallone and shoots a gas tank, causing an explosion that takes Stallone out and blows Dom back. Letty will rush to Dom's side, but the burns will make it clear that this time he's not going to walk it off. Dom will have finally sacrificed everything for his family. The final act of Fast 11 will start with Dom's funeral, as Letty and the gang let go of the one man who made them a family in the first place. Truly, as long as Dom's alive, there is no reason for the franchise to ever really come to an end. The only way his team would ever disband for good would be if their leader finally met his end. The funeral would feature all of our old favorites, including Brian and Mia one last time. While the funeral sequence would fade away, this would not actually be the end. No, in some ways, this would be the franchise just getting started. You see, while the Fast and Furious movies may be ending, the Fast and Furious extended franchise seems to just now be heating up. In a world where every single franchise wants to have a big cinematic universe, Fast may end up having one of the best. There are a ton of rumored spin-offs for this franchise, and I think the last moments of the final Furious will be spent setting them up. For starters, the most obvious one will be Hobbes and Shaw, as the duo regroup after the chaotic events of the movie. While Cypher and Toretto Sr. both got taken out, there are still likely remnants of Edeon out there, possibly in the highest levels of government. This could even see Hobbes or Shaw taking over as Mr. Nobody now that Kurt Russell's iteration has bitten the dust.
Clearly, we're getting nowhere with nobody.
That premise could be a perfect start to an even bigger franchise of cool sci-fi spy adventures in the future from The Rock and Jason Statham. Of course, it would also have to feature Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart for some comic relief. The other big franchise the Fast series has seemingly been building towards is the one Michelle Rodriguez has been pitching for years. This would be the female-led Fast series, where all the baddest ladies in the series team up for adventures of their own. I'm pretty sure that if 2020 had been a normal film year, this series would have been confirmed by now. Surely they've got to figure out a way to bring Giselle back. There's no way you can have a female Fast franchise without freaking Gal Gadot in it. The final Furious could feature a scene where Letty takes up Dom's reins as leader of the gang. Mia and Ramsey could come up to her and ask, "What's next?" only for her to look at the camera and say, "I've got some ideas." There was also a rumor that Tyrese Gibson was offered a franchise with Ludacris as his co-star, but turned it down to stay with the family. Now that the main franchise is over, perhaps it's time for Roman and Tej to get their own franchise where they get a big slice of success. I could even see this being a Power-style television series where the pair try to go legit only to be pulled back into trouble. Would Fast and Furious Presents The Roman Empire be a little too on the nose? Finally, the spin-off that me and other fans of the series have been wanting wouldn't have anything to do with the principal characters. This would feature Han purchasing a ticket back to Tokyo to get back into the street racing scene there. Sound off in the comments if you also want a full-blown Tokyo Drift franchise where Han takes on the criminal underworld in Tokyo with a drift car and a cool attitude. The film would then end with the entire Fast family meeting up for one last party to celebrate everything before they all go off on their big adventures. We'll get to see precious moments like Brian and Mia's kids playing with Brian Toretto. I'm definitely not getting choked up just thinking about it. Of course, the whole thing would have to end in the only way this franchise could ever end. One last street race between all of our heroes. The entire gang will line up and race off into the distance as it cuts to black one last time. Well, there you have it. Exactly how we think the Fast and Furious franchise will come to an end. So what do you think will happen in the final films of the series? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to CBR. Thanks for watching.